Hi everyone. I want to invite you to close your eyes for a second and picture this. You are 9 years old. You step off a trail just for a moment. And when you look up, the path is gone. Trees everywhere, the light changes, sounds feel louder, and suddenly you realize you are alone. In a lot of Stephen King stories, the horror is supernatural. But in The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, the horror is something more realistic. Nature, isolation, and what your mind does when there's nobody there in research to reassure you.
This book is basically a survival story, but it's also psychological. It asks what happens to a person, especially a child, when fear and loneliness last long enough to change how reality feels.
And today we will connect that to a real research, loneliness as a health risk, and resilience as the ability to keep going even when the situations feels impossible.
Welcome to our podcast. I'm Leah, and I'm here with Manuel and Joel.
Hi everyone.
Hey everyone.
So, here's what we'll do. Joel will give the story set up and main themes. Manuel will connect those themes to psychology, especially loneliness and resilience. And I'll keep us moving. Ask the questions people at home might be thinking, and bring it all together at the end. Also, if you haven't read the book, don't worry, you'll still be able to follow along. Joel, give us the quick story summary.
Okay, so basically the novel follows Trisha McFarland, a young girl hiking with her family. There's family tension, her parents are divorced, and during the hike, she steps off the trail, basically trying to go somewhere private and rejoin them faster. But she gets lost. At first, it feels like a mistake that will be fixed quickly, but as time passes, hours, then days, Tricia realizes no one is coming anytime soon.
And what makes this book different from King's typical vibe?
In many King stories, the terror is supernatural. Here, the terrifying power is nature itself, because nature doesn't care. The forest doesn't hate you. It doesn't need a reason. It just overwhelms you with scale, silence, and danger.
And as psychology, nature is the perfect setting to fear because you lose pers- perspectively. Humans calm down when they can predict what happens next. In the books, Trisha can predict anything, weather, animals, direction, time, even her own energy.
Let's talk about fear. What kind of fear are we dealing with?
Fear starts as practical, like I'm lost. Then it becomes existential, like I might not be found. And King shows how fear evolves. Trisha begins to sense that something is following her. Her imagination blurs with reality. That's one of the scariest parts, because as a reader, you start asking, is there really something out there? Or is her mind trying to explain the terror of being alone?
That's realistic. When people are isolated and stressed, their brains become hyper vigilant, always scanning for threats. Sounds become more warning. Shadows becomes predators. Fear doesn't need proof. It needs uncertainty.
So the horror becomes internal as much as external.
Exactly. The woods are scary, but the mental spiral is scarier.
So in our presentation, we frame the theme like this. The fear of being lost can push someone to the edge of madness. But courage and hope can restore them. Because you can face fear with faith and determination when hope seems impossible. Let's break that down, Joel. How does fear of being lost push her to the edge?
She's tired, hungry, hurt, and confused. Starts bargaining with reality. If I just keep walking, I'll find something. But she keeps finding more forest. That repetition is mentally brutal. That's when you feel the edge because panic starts becoming permanent.
And that's where coping matters. Without coping strategies, fear becomes what psychologists call feedback loop. Fear increases the stress reduces clear thinking, reduce clarity, and increase danger. And the danger increase fear again.
Now, courage and hope. Where do we see hope?
Trisha keeps imagining a future. Not a perfect future, just a future where she gets out. That future picture keeps her moving.
Now, let's talk about loneliness. And because Trisha isn't just lost, she's alone.
Right. And loneliness isn't just sadness. There's a strong research linking the loneliness to a mental health outcomes. A 2022 review in the National Psychiatry and Physiatry Epidemiology look at a study, meaning that they followed people over time to examine their loneliness predicts the new outset of the mental health problem, especially depressions. There's the studies found that the many students' loneliness and was associated with the development of depression, and they also discuss evidence relating loneliness to others outcomes like anxiety.
And Trisha is basically living that risk in real time. You see the psychological cost. She talks out loud, she invents dialogue, she holds onto imagined companionship.
Some people might hear that and think, is she losing her mind? But it might also be survival.
Exactly. When the brain the deprived of social connections, it tries to create a structure. Talking with yourself can be grounded. It can keep you oriented. This is what's happening. This is what I do next. But the loneliness and fear is increasingly together uh, can disturb your mind. That's why the book is so psychologically believable.
So, yeah, it's not only that she's alone with constant uncertainty. That's the perfect recipe for fear to become a permanent presence.
So, if loneliness is the threat, what's the protection? Resilience?
Yes, the American Psychological Association describes resilience as the process of the adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, or significant stress. And they empathize practical strategy to people can practice. For example, one line that matches Trisha's story perfectly is the idea maintaining a hopeful outlook. Try to visualize what do you want to do rather than thinking about the fear.
That's literally what Trisha does with Tom Gordon. She visualizes an outcome, survival. She visualizes calm and she also visualizes closing the game like in baseball.
And I love that it's not magical. It doesn't erase danger. It's it just gives her something to aim at.
Right. Hope isn't demial. I hope is direction. Another resilient idea of APA type. Resilience guidance is doing a small regulation action towards the goal, breaking down the huge crisis to mm, maintain your steps. Trisha does that. She focuses on the water, on talking, resting, and just one step at a time.
And that's why she doesn't collapse psychologically. She creates mini missions, and it turns out that the panic it, it will be problem solving later.
Oh yeah, so resilience in this story is not heroic speech. It's a small decisions. Keep going, keep thinking, keep choosing life, set it up.
Yeah.
Uh Now faith, because in our presentation we call it faith part of what helps her face fear when hope feels impossible.
In paper, faith and resilience. Howard Snyder and Mac Cullen describe faith as involving resilience, in continuing to rely even when the challenge show up. That's a helpful lens. There's because Trisha's faith in Thomas Gordon isn't real. Is psychological. Is a stable point and in a chaotic world.
She treats him like a symbol of steadiness under pressure. When she feels herself slipping into panic, she returns to that symbol.
So faith becomes a mental anchor to her. So here's what this book leaves us with. Loneliness and fear can push someone toward the edge, but hope, resilience, and faith can pull them back. Stephen King shows that the scariest things isn't always monsters. Sometimes it's silence and being alone with your own thoughts.
And research supports why that matters. Loneliness is a real mental health risk, and resilient strategies like hopeful visualization and small goals focus actions can protect us.
Trisha's survival become more than physical. It's also psychological, and that's what makes this story powerful.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to us. This was Leah, Manuel, and Joel. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Thank you for joining us in this podcast journey. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did making it. That concludes our episode. I hope you learned some new things you didn't know before. Share it with your friends and family if you like it, and discuss what you like the most. We'd love to see your responses. Bye bye, and Merry Christmas!